And welcome back. This is the final segment today of the Price of Business radio show. Kevin Price not in, but Sigmund Kramer is. And I've got Lance Malone, a special guest, great guest with Standard Supply. He's been supplying HVAC to the Houston area and the Texas area for a long time now. Lance, welcome back aboard, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Sigmund. You can learn more about Standard Supply at ssdhvac.com. I'm really excited to do our second segment today with Air Assist, but this time we've got Dwight Blackburn on. He's the owner of Air Assist. They're in the Houston area. You can reach them at 281-861-9247, or you can find out more about them at www.airassistservice.com.
Great. Well, welcome aboard, Dwight.
Thank you.
Now, Dwight, we've already talked to Donna a little bit about who Air Assist is and what you do, but we've come to that time of the year when some people are going to be faced with looking at replacing their air conditioner. So I'd like to get your input on the things that a person should consider when it's time to make that decision. And maybe we could just pretend that I'm your customer and it's time for me to replace my system.
Okay.
How are you going to educate me about making that decision?
Well, one of the first things that you want to look at is your cooling costs. Is your cooling costs a lot higher than normal? Another thing is how many breakdowns you would have while you're running the system. If you have a lot of breakdowns and if your electric bills are high and your unit is over 10 years old, then you need to look into replacing it.
Okay, so what about the different efficiency levels? What considerations should be made in choosing the right efficiency for someone's home?
Well, the minimum efficiency by law right now is 13 SEER. They go all the way up to 18 SEER. So it really depends on your investment, how much you want to invest into a system, how much usage you'll be using your air conditioner. For instance, if you have multiple kids running in and outside, then that plays a part into it as well.
Okay.
But the SEER levels, it varies. But if you have, for instance, you have a 10 SEER unit that you purchased, let's say 12 years ago, is probably running about an 8 SEER today. So even if you go with a minimum SEER, 13 SEER, you're looking at a lot of savings when you change that unit out.
Okay, good. And just to make sure all the listeners out there know, SEER stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio.
That is correct.
And that's an industry term that we use to determine how efficient your system is. So, Dwight, let's say I choose to put in a high-efficiency system. Are there other things besides the equipment that should be done to make sure that I get peak performance?
Yes, in our opinion, you should consider an air cleaner. Air cleaner actually keeps the air clean, of course, and also protects the surface of the evaporator coil, and it protects the ductwork. And it also free you up from having to change the filters down inside your return grill. If you had a media filter that we installed that's near the furnace up in the attic, or it's in the closet, depending on the application, but that unit typically is only changed out once a year. That media is changed out about once a year on average.
Okay. Well, how can someone know that the new system they're putting in is the right size?
So we do heat loads. Anytime we replace a system, we'll do a load calculation on a house, and we'll also measure the ductwork. And it's a little formula that we use to determine the tonnage of the air conditioner, but it takes about 45 minutes to do, and we recommend it needs to be done regardless of who put the system in. It has to be done so you won't be having a mix-match system.
So I don't necessarily need to just go back with the exact same size system I already have?
Not at all. The load calculation needs to be done.
Okay. Well, when should I consider maybe only replacing one component of my system versus replacing the whole system? And when's that not a good idea?
For instance, if you have a unit that's in decent condition, and let's say the compressor goes out and the compressor's under a manufacturer's warranty, then it's not a bad idea to look into just replacing that one part, which is the compressor.
Okay. Well, what would you say is the most important factor in making a decision to replace your air conditioning system?
Most important is convenience and also your cooling costs. Most customers that we come across actually are buying a new system a little bit every month with their breakdowns and their utility costs.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dwight, I'm going to add something to that if you don't mind, because I would say, having been in this business for a long time, the most important factor is the contractor you choose.
Yes, indeed. Goes without saying.
Most homeowners don't really understand that, but there's a big difference in the type of installation you're going to get and the type of performance you're going to get out of your system if you use a good quality contractor who stands behind their work versus someone who maybe has the lowest price.
I will agree.
What about brand, Dwight? Is the brand of equipment a consideration?
Yes, it is. Amana is a good brand. I think they have the best warranty out there. Train is also another good brand. We deal with mostly Amana and Train.
Well, we're glad to hear that you deal with Amana, because that happens to be the brand that Standard Supply sells. Of course,
what a coincidence.
It is made right there in Houston, Texas, so I'll put in a plug for them on that.
Yeah, they do get good ratings. When I was doing research for my house, Amana definitely was at the top of the list. They're Train as well. And, I'd like to throw in real quick, you were talking about the air cleaning system. Something I found out about it, it's not just putting the filter, the media filter, having like a 4-inch media filter that you only have to change out once a year. It's not just that. It's also when you have that put in, you have to make sure that you're getting clean air coming from a place, so you're not just picking up more dust in the system. And so there's also something else that I learned about, that you actually add that vents from the outside of the house into the air. It's just so much to research, so much to find out, and you need somebody you can trust who knows all about all this stuff and can really educate the public on it.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. I would agree on it.
And that's probably a good way for us to wrap it up, Sigmund. I was going to ask Dwight, Dwight, you're probably not going to get a chance to be in front of every homeowner or business person in Houston that's going to need to replace their system. So any tips for the listeners on questions to ask their contractor when they're considering making a purchase?
Yes. One of the first things, references is always a good thing. Also, if you're inside the city limits, you want to make sure that they pull a permit with the city, make sure they're registered with the city. And they also can check the BBV, make sure they don't have any bad experiences with the last customer they've done a replacement on. So those things should be considered.
Great tips. Hey, Dwight, thanks for joining us today. Dwight is with Air Assist Air Conditioning. They're in the Houston area. Again, you can reach them at 281-861-9247 or www.airassistservice.com. And I'm Lance Malone with Standard Supply, ssdhvac.com.
That's right, ssdhvac.com. Lance, thanks for being on again, and thanks for bringing your guest on.
Thank you, Sigmund.
All right, folks. Well, you're listening to The Price of Business normally with Kevin Price. This is Sigmund Kramer, and we look forward to having you listening in tomorrow. That's right, Kevin will be back. So stay tuned. Lots more great stuff right here on Business 1110 KTEK. Until tomorrow, have a great day.